Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up we have the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Monsters Wave 1. This is the Mighty Morphin King Sphinx. So, monsters announced for the line. How exciting! Then they say they're actually going to be in 8-inch scale, I think it was, which, okay, that sounds pretty cool, bigger monsters, but I know a lot of the criticisms, you guys may have seen a review or two of these guys already, is that the monsters are so much larger than the Rangers. Now, in theory, that's awesome. You want monsters that look super imposing, that just look badass next to the Rangers, and look scary, right? Looks like they're not going to be able to defeat them. I get it. But then in the show, right, there's still regular people in these suits. So when you have something like Goldar, which if you scale in size, he's much smaller than King Sphinx when they've been on screen together and they're about the same size. So when you look at the Rangers, that's a huge difference. So the scale is what really throws it off. So that's going to kind of affect how people are going to feel about it. But in terms of a figure itself, we'll kind of take a look at that and see how that goes. But then the big question is how do these monsters scale with that Hasbro Megazord that they released? And so far, it's not looking too good. So let's open up King Sphinx and see how he looks overall. Looking at the package, we have the awesome artwork there. Artwork on the side. We have a look at the figure on the back of the package, and then one thing, of course, that Hasbro did is the Target exclusive Spectrum series box, which we didn't know was going to be a thing until they started showing up in stores. So why Hasbro did that and didn't announce it, who knows? But the Spectrum series looks awesome because we get that side profile artwork there looking really cool, and we get that on the side of the box, and the hologram. The holographic look to it is really cool. So I won't be opening that one. This is the one I'll be opening, so let's get to it. Okay, so here's the King Sphinx figure out of the package, and I did not put the wings on there because I want to show you guys that up close on how we're going to do that, because that is a scary small peg that is going to have to pour it into the back of the figure. So we'll kind of see how that's going. But my first impressions are this. This is a $30 deluxe figure. This is great value for what you are getting for $30. Now, I get it. $20 to $30, it's a big jump. You know, nobody wants to pay more for a figure. However, the larger scale, the accessories that we get, I mean, we have the wing pieces, we have all kinds of points of articulation, we get the effect piece, his staff, additional hands. When we look at deluxe figures from other lines, so let's say Marvel Legends, right? We get Red Hulk, he comes with additional hands. Okay, he's $30. Yes, he's a bigger figure, so I get it. I think this figure is a little bit more justified than, say, the Red Hulk figure because he has more accessories. It makes sense. Now, the Black Widow on the line had a bunch of different accessories that came with the stand. That makes sense. That works. So it depends, I guess, on the deluxe figure in a sense. But when you look at, like, say, Apocalypse, the Age of Apocalypse, it's a larger figure. This is a larger figure also. It makes sense. But now let's look at Star Wars Black Series. The Zeb figure, that was a $30 figure. And what accessories did he I think he came with a blaster. He wasn't even that big. So it kind of goes along in that sense, if that makes sense. You guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on it. But I think for $30, I think we're actually getting a real value here in this particular one. Pumpkin Wrapper, I would say definitely because it comes with even more accessories. But I think this is a great starting point for monsters. I am actually really happy. Paint apps aside, I get all the criticism in his face, the unpainted nose, the inside of his mouth, whatever. That is not a big deal to me, but it is what it is. So let's zoom in on the accessories and the figure and take a closer look. Okay, so looking at his staff. Now, I would need to go back and really watch it. My problem is when I tried to rewatch Mighty Morphin, I just could not get into it. I thought it was just so cheesy, and I absolutely loved it when I was a kid, but I have a really hard time watching it now. So one of the things on the staff, I mean, it is what it is. There's not a whole lot going to it. It's got this nice, like, texture to the pole of the staff, and then the end is just done in this kind of yellowish color. But notice it kind of looks like a question mark, right? And I don't really remember what King Sphinx's little gimmick thing was to it. But looking at the effect piece, this is awesome because it's not going to get used anywhere else. I mean, take a look at it. There, question mark right there. Question mark, question mark. There was another one somewhere. I can't find it. There's one right there. Question mark. So this effect piece, these are all individual unique sculpts that are not going to get used again. I mean, unless they come out with another King Sphinx, which I seriously hope they don't. But these things are not going to get used again. So how awesome is that little detail in the effect piece? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I think that is actually really, really cool. Maybe it's just me. I think it's cool. As far as additional accessories, he comes with an additional left hand. This is a fist because the right hand is just that open like clawed kind of thing. Then it also comes with a different right hand to hold the staff because I already switched out the open hand. Now the unfortunate thing is he only has the one single hand to hold the staff. Now these ones can hold it, but it doesn't really look right. So there's that. And then here we have the wing pieces. And I like these. You know, we talk about paint apps. You know, he's missing paint apps all over the Power Rangers Lightning Collection line. Okay, I get it. I think it's minimal. It's not that big of a deal. In some cases, yeah, it sucks and it's stupid. But this guy has a lot of paint apps. Look at the wings. That's not just a solid color. We got some shading in there on both sides. So I think that's really cool. It's just like this light gray base, and then there's this bluish shade throughout, and that's both wings naturally, of course. But I think that's really good. I think it's done really nice. So I get a lot of the criticisms on the other figures, but this one I'm sorry, I'm not going for it. I think it's done really, really well. Looking at the figure, yes, the head sculpt, yes, his nose is missing paint, yes, the open mouth is kind of dull looking because there's no difference in paint apps, but there are some things that they did well, right? So there's some shading in his face that looks really good. You see the darker, that bluish gray is kind of in there, but it's a little bit of a darker tone. We get red eyes. The blue and yellow of his Sphinx head looks pretty cool. We get that snake there up at the top. So I like it. Yes, it could use more paint apps. They could always use more paint apps, but I mean, at some point, these are just toys, right? I mean, you can't get 100% faithful representation. As much as we should, and it would be nice, sometimes it just can't happen. So I get it. Looking at the body, we get some paint apps. Maybe he should be a little bit darker, but we get some of that blue shading throughout. Because if you look at images of King Sphinx, he had a lot of blue shading in there. But I think he was definitely darker in the show. But we get a lot of the color in there, that blue, you know, on his arms, his torso, his legs. So that looks pretty good. We get some darker gray shading there on his feet and on the legs. That is pretty cool. That design, the paint is applied nicely on there, the black and red. So I just don't have that many criticisms for it. You can see where the wings are going to port into the back. Now, one thing is I have a weird blue paint scuff there. I'm not sure what that came from. There's no shading on the back of the figure, though. That is not a surprise. That's definitely something that Hasbro does all the time. Shoulder pads look good with some nice texture to it. We actually get like some cuts in there, and I guess these hieroglyphics. So that is really cool. And then one thing, his tail is articulated. It's on a ball joint. How cool is that? So we can get that tail into all kinds of different poses and sticking out however you guys want to do it. So that is really cool. It's something that I didn't even think about, wasn't really expecting. Now, here's the thing when it comes to the wings. I'm very scared to do this. I kind of tried it a little bit off camera, and it was scaring me because I think you have to really force that peg into that port. And that's a tiny peg. I mean, look how small that is. I'm really scared that I'm gonna break it. So that is definitely a negative on this figure. But it might work out really well. But man, it's scary. So let's try. And you gotta, yeah. See, you gotta really force it. I can't even get it. So I'm gonna have to do that off camera. So let's turn that off and try it again. Okay, so I have the wings ported on. So one thing I will say is maybe I was a little too worried for no reason. But here is the big criticism. They don't stay in there very well. So as small as that peg is, I don't think it's going to break. But they come out too easily. Like if you just want to hinge, see, I mean, there they go. And maybe it's just me because I'm not getting it in all the way. But I just can't, I mean, I'm forcing it in as much as I possibly can, and once you try and hinge the wing, it's gonna pop out. So I guess there's no worry of them breaking, but there's the worry of them just staying in. So that is a big bad negative on this figure, but it's still really cool, and it's going to look awesome with the wings on there. But yeah, they need to be in way better and more secure than they are. Okay, so King Sphinx Articulation. So I will tell you right now, the head's not going to get a whole lot of movement because of his headdress. It's just not. So first, we'll start with the wings, because I'm going to take them off to do the articulation. So they're on a ball joint, so you could swivel them around, and you can hinge them. But then when you try and hinge it too far, they just pop out, and they really don't stay on very well. So, I mean, look at that. It just pops right out. So I'm going to put those off to the side so we can do the rest of the articulation. But they are hinged and can kind of move around nicely. But again, the head is not going to go anywhere. So you get that little bit of motion. That's it. You get some twist to the side and whatnot, and that's it. There's some pivot going on in there. The shoulders, you can get to go up that high only because the shoulder pads are going to hit the torso. So unfortunately, there's just not going to be a whole lot of motion in there. Now, there is a kind of a hidden butterfly joint inside that torso, so you get some movement in there, as you could kind of see it right there, but it's not going to be a whole lot. But there is one in there, so you guys know. The upper bicep swivel there, you get a double jointed elbow like so. The wrists swivel, and they do hinge with the horizontal hinge. The one hand to hold the staff does have the vertical hinge to it, though. If I can get the damn hinge, there we go. So that is pretty cool. So this is the same articulation scheme as the Power Rangers figure. So we have the upper torso diaphragm joint, right, like so. So he could pivot to his left that much. He could pivot to his right that much. You can go back ever so slightly. You can come forward ever so slightly as well. But then he has that lower ab crunch. So getting both, you can get him to bend forward that much. You can get him to go back quite a lot, but then the texture of his skin stops, and it's kind of a smooth portion there. Unfortunately, they did not continue that. There is no waist swivel because we have that diaphragm joint, so we can turn to the side like so. The legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that much. There is an upper die cut in there, which I can't seem to twist, but that ball joint has a lot of movement in there at the hip, so that is great. But he does have the upper die cut there, which you can get to go, but it is really, really stiff. You get a double jointed knee, like so. No calf swivel or boot swivel or anything, but you have a swivel at the ankle. Foot hinges down. You get a little bit of a hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So, you have all those points of articulation. It's just, you know, in that ankle and not higher up. So I think the articulation is great. And again, we talked about the tail, right? It is on a ball joint, so you can get it to move around into different spots and poses as you wish. So I think it's pretty good. You guys let me know what you think. Okay, so I get it. Here's the big problem. When looking at the size comparisons in the scale, so him next to Goldar, that's a big problem. Him next to Rita, I don't know how much it would have even really shown them on screen together. But, you know, bigger the figure, kind of the cooler and the better it would look, yeah. But scaling is really bad. So what I'm now afraid of, and hopefully I'm wrong in this, but I'm thinking maybe Hasbro would give us another Goldar in this monster scale. I hope they don't, but I could absolutely see them doing that. You know, we shall see. I don't know that I would necessarily mind it. It would make me mad that I bought two Goldars already, because this is the wave 6, I think it was. So we'll see. I hope they don't, but then I kind of hope they do, because it'll be lined up with the other monsters. But you guys let me know down in the comments below. If they made a Goldar in this scale, would you buy it again? I'm curious. Please let me know in the comments below. But let's see King Sphinx next to some Rangers. Okay, so scale, it's not good. It's really not. Now, in photography, it's going to look awesome when you have this superimposing badass villain, bad guy, monster up against the Rangers. But when you think of screen accuracy, it's not good. It's not. Now, I would have preferred everything be in scale. It would have made a lot more sense. But in action figure form, it's cool. It's just the accuracy is just really, really bad. So you guys let me know down in the comments below in terms of the screen accuracy. the screen accuracy, what you guys think. Does it make it a pass for you that they're just so off? I'm curious. You guys let me know. Okay, so here's another side-by-side comparison that's not good. The Megazord. No, that doesn't work. Nope. 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 This is really too bad. I was kind of hoping that it would be a little bit more in scale, but that's just kind of unfortunate. You know, that would have been pretty awesome had it been in scale. If you know what you could do, the possibilities, but sadly, not gonna work. Okay, so my final thoughts on the figure. I am happy with it. For $30, I think we get a lot of really good things. A large figure with some cool accessories. The wings do kind of suck because they fall off extremely easily, so that is a big negative and a big downer. However, still a really cool figure that I'm happy with. Scale be damned. It's an awesome figure for 30 bucks, but you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of it, and you think it's justified in the price? How do you feel about the scale? What do you think of the Spectrum series boxes? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.